is an interview with. Do you go by your your level was colonel?
Yeah, I was full bird colonel in the Air Force.
This is Colonel Woodard, and goes by the name of Billy. And we're going to be talking today about the Hollow Earth and many other things too. I would imagine. I see a little smile there, so it looks like we're in for it. So,
Oh,
so
yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself, Billy.
Well, I was deposited on the surface with my sister, twin sister, and that was back in 1951. So my birth certificate that I have doesn't belong to me. It's to a dead baby that died of bronchopneumonia. So I don't actually have a birth certificate, like
So,
Obama.
who are your real parents?
My real parents would be Zora and Soraya.
And they live in the inner earth.
Yes, they do.
So tell us a little bit about your experience in the Air Force.
Well, okay. Maybe I should make a recording and just play the recording over and over. My time in the Air Force was quite unique, to say the least. But after I graduated basic training and advanced training, they asked me where I wanted to go. I said, "Well, I'm signed up to go to Hawaii." They said, "Well, where you're signed up to go and where you're going is two different things," as you well know. But so I ended up going to the Pentagon at the request of my adopted father. He was stationed at Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. At that time, it was the Army Air Corps. It wasn't the Air Force. The Air Force had not come into being at that time. But so he was stationed at Area 51. And one time while we were out having a barbecue, he made the statement. We looked up and we saw something hovering between the clouds, and we looked up, and he looks up and he goes, "Up, here we go again." We didn't know what he meant by that, but so I asked him about it. I said, "What do you mean, here we go again?" He says, "Well, back in 1947 when I was stationed here, we had a crashed vessel that was in the Lincoln National Forest, and part of it had been torn off from the original craft and strewn over the Brazil Ranch. About 20 feet of it had been torn away from the main craft, and the rest of it came to rest in the Lincoln National Forest. So that's what Roswell was all about. He says the weather balloon was just a cover story to keep unwelcome visitors away from the crash site. But of course that didn't work because there's a lot of people out there looking around.
And what was his name? Your father?
Woodard?
Woodard?
Woodard, yeah. It's Woodard, not Woodward. I don't know, people always mistake that, and they put a W in the middle of the last name. But I guess that's common practice. However, I was stationed at the Pentagon with my adopted father, and so they proceeded to tell me that the Pentagon was just my first duty station, and that my next duty station would be in Nevada at a facility out in the Nevada desert, which was also on the property of the Nellis Air Force Base.
So you're talking about S4, Dreamland,
Yeah, S4, Dreamland.
Area
S4 and
51.
Dreamland are above the ground, and Area 51 is well below that. The first level of Area 51 is actually 2.5 miles underground,
So what years were you there?
and it goes down from. Did you know that?
No, how far does it go down?
It goes down 27 levels.
So
The first,
while you were there, you must have known Bob Lazar then, huh?
I met him.
Yeah.
I gave him a tour of the facility. I was ordered to give him a tour of the facility due to the fact that he was working with propulsion units and things of that nature. So I was told to give him a tour of our facility, and so I did. I met him at the first level of the Area 51 at the the lift or elevator, if you want to call it that. But it didn't have numbers on the elevator to what levels to go down to or nothing like that. It just came down to that level and that's it. So I escorted him in and showed him around. We showed him the hangar deck where 16 dish-shaped aircraft were stationed, and he was allowed to walk up to them and even go inside. I took him into the craft that I was assigned to for night maneuvers, and I took him inside, and he had to stoop over to get inside. The roof, the ceiling was quite low, and you basically had to stoop over to walk around on the inside. But because the occupants that manned that craft were quite small, about 4.5 to maybe about 4.5 feet tall, and they were round heads, almond-shaped eyes, and they didn't talk. They would speak directly to your mind. They had lips, but they never moved. And it was just whenever you're in their presence, you could actually hear their thoughts, and they could hear yours. So that's how you communicated. You didn't actually talk verbally.
So, Billy, before we go
Yeah.
before we go down underneath into Area 51,
Yes.
I would like to just sort of educate the listeners a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. And actually, there's a lot of history for a hollow Earth. I mean, even back to the story of Gilgamesh, where Ishtar, the great goddess of love, of war, is said to have gone down through 7 gates to the underworld. And we have several testimonies from people like Credo Mukwa. He was interviewed by David Icke, and Credo is a Zulu shaman, and he's talking about there's a reptilian race that live underground. And then we have,
Yep.
of course, Admiral Byrd and all the explorers, and we have lots of photographs from space, from NASA. So it's only been recently that I've even started taking this seriously, to be honest with you. It was so far over my head into the
Understanding.
realms of impossibilities, but something has struck a chord here, and I'm realizing that there's a valid, some valid information here. I just did an interview with some people up in Mount Shasta about Telos
All right.
and Agartha and all that. So I just want the people listening to this that keep an open mind, because this is so
Oh yes.
far beyond what our everyday life would predict. It's somewhat like if we were all living, or think we were living, on a flat planet, and we have an explorer coming back saying, no, it's not flat, it's spherical, I just went around the world. As hard as that was for some of the people to grasp, all you have to do is start opening your mind up a little bit and start realizing that there is a body of evidence that really points to the fact that this could be true, and there's geological evidence too. So take us down. What was your experience going down level by level by level? I'm sure that there must be some of the first levels to where some of the people go, but then as I understand it, you reach a certain level and it's actually starting to be more controlled by extraterrestrials.
Talking about Area 51 or?
Yeah.
Or, oh yeah. Okay, you go down 16 levels. On the 16th level, the first 16 levels are machine. Basically, the you heard rumors in the past about people hearing boring machines underground or sounds coming from underground, and that was the Rand Corporation drilling, or not drilling, but boring passage and tunnels underneath the ground. If you notice, way in the past there was a lot of troop movements above ground. All on major highways and things of this nature. You don't see those anymore, mainly because they're all going underground. They're very seldom do you ever see a convoy on the surface. In most cases, when they're transporting from point A to point B, it's underground unless it's local. If it's local, then you might see them on the surface.
So
but
Bill,
hardly
when you're saying this, there's something that comes to mind, because I've heard a similar story like this, and what comes to mind is, how are they keeping? Like, I can see how they can keep a general quiet with disclosure agreements and Leavenworth and 20 years and all that, but how are they keeping so many private soldiers on a private level from talking about this?
Well, they basically threaten them bodily harm. I myself, I've even been threatened myself, but like I told them, I'm not really concerned about you because I am protected, and they know it. So they came to my home when I was at Mount Shasta a few years back. Government agents dressed in black came to my house, knocked on my door. I opened the door, and there was a man and two men and one woman, all dressed in black. They said, "May we come in?" And I said, "Absolutely." They come in. They identified themselves. They pulled their identification out, showed it to me. I said, "Okay, fine, have a seat." And they proceeded, right off the bat, they proceeded to tell me, "You are to stop and desist from telling any more that you have done in the service." I said, "And why should I comply to that?" They said, "Because if you don't, we are prepared to take your life." I said, "I'm not worried about you. I am protected." And they said, "Well, what about if we were to pull one of our weapons and shoot you?" And I said, "Your weapon will not fire."
Well, obviously you're still around, and I think probably some of your best protection is being really visible. I know I've been listening to Stephen Greer with this Disclosure Project, and he has over 400 people. 2 of them are generals and flight controllers and people that have observed UFOs and have actually been working with extraterrestrials. And some of the military people are saying that extraterrestrials are actually at the Pentagon, and they want to testify in front of Congress. And they're thinking
Yes.
that even though they're breaking their disclosure agreements and risking 20 years in Leavenworth, they're thinking it with a massive amount of people, like 400 people testifying in front of Congress, they're not going to throw them all in jail because that would be worse than just leaving them alone. So I think high visibility is one of your safeguards also.
Yes, it is. If you stay silent and under their control, then they feel they have control of you. But when you take away their control when you tell them, "I'm not worried about you. Do your worst." They realize that. Like in my case, they said when I got out of the military and I told them what I was going. I even told them I was going to, relay what I did in the military, what Area 51's about, and they said, "Well, we're not worried about that because no one will believe you."
Right.
And so, and I said, "Fine," and they even took away my pension to try to shut me up. I had upwards of $4,500 to $5,000 a month pension coming to me, and when I started, going talking at different places, they sent me a warning letter stating that I should not talk about what I did in the military, and consequences could be forfeiture. I can't even say it now. Forfeiture of my pension, and I said, "Take it," and it did.
Yeah, they have no trouble
So,
taking it.
no, they had no trouble at all. I got a notification at the end of the month saying your benefits or your pension has been terminated by order of the president.
So, Billy, where do you think this is going to end up? I think first of all, I should tell you that I had a UFO experience. So I know.
You have?
I know. Yeah, oh, yeah. When I was 10
What
years
happened?
old, coming out here from Ohio to California on the train, it was late at
Right.
night, and I got up. It
Uh-huh.
was probably 2 or 3 in the morning. We're probably in Arizona or New Mexico, somewhere out in the desert, and there was a glow that came over the inside of the train cab. As I got up to walk to get me a glass of water, as walking back, just everything turned a glowing red. And when I sit down in my seat, there was a cigar-shaped spacecraft following the train, and I would say it must have been at least 150 feet because it was longer than our car. And along the side of it, the whole body was sort of a glowing red, and the whole side of it looked like windows, but I doubt if they were, but it looked like portals all along the side. And it followed us for about a minute, minute and a half. Then it went up over the train to the other side, and you could see all the light shift, and it followed us for another 30 seconds or 40 seconds and just shot off and disappeared. So ever since that sighting, I knew that there's something beyond what I was being told. And at a young age like that, it was like a crack in the dam of indoctrination. And so I've questioned everything. I pretty much doubted everything. I wrote a book recently about the social and neurological consequences of belief systems, because we have
Yeah.
been so heavily indoctrinated by our government, religions, and political institutions and corporations that most people live so far behind veils of illusions that what you're saying, a lot of them are going to turn it off by now. They're going to think there's nothing viable, nothing of value, and nothing real about this. What would you say to a person like that would hold their attention to at least open their minds up to this?
I would tell them that they're dead, because if you don't expand your mind to the point of accepting a possible alternate reality, then you're closed-minded and you're just not living. And what you saw was a mobile transport craft, transporting um, uh, dignitaries from other star systems. That was probably in the Dulce, New Mexico area where you were, um, because there is a base located in that area, UFO base, um, and it's not far from the Dulce complex. So, and there's um, AMRAIL or train tracks that go right alongside, not too far from that landing port. So that's probably what you were seeing was the mobile transport from that area. Um, they Now, besides Area 51, there's other areas that are also of interest, which are also highly classified. Rising Star, Texas is one of those places. Um,
Like
there
Pine
was an
Gap?
incident. Pardon me.
Like Pine Gap?
Uh,
Yeah, there's different military bases all over the planet that are increasing
yes,
their
yes,
their seclusion and increasing their privacy.
yes,
Are
there
these
are.
are these bases hooked up to this underground tunnel system?
Yes, they are. All military bases are interconnected to the what you call I call it the spoked wagon wheel, uh, uh, tunneling systems that branch out from Area 51. Some of the tunnels are even quite extensive. Some of them even go underground, underneath due west, uh, straight out to the underwater, pardon me, the undersea crystalline pyramid off the coast of Hawaii, the north end of the island. You also have another pyramidal shaped structure not far from Catalina Island. And there's tunnels that go to those. Those are unfortunately those are um, not accessible to the military.
So how does this have
Uh,
to how does this hook up with like Stargates? Like in Iraq, we're building a $1 billion military base in a country that we're supposed to be leaving. And some people say that there's a Stargate there. Are these tunnels hooked up to some of these areas also?
yes, they are absolutely.
So what do you think a Stargate is?
A Stargate. Well, if for one, the Stargate is not a circle, as you see, as it's portrayed on the TV. Similar, but not quite. It's octagon
Yeah,
shaped.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's octagon shaped, but it's not the rings do not rotate. In essence, you dial in a destination, and the portal does open. It does look like water. It looks like liquid water, uh, similar to the uh, one you see on TV, but not exact. Um, it does take you to other worlds. It does take you to other time periods. It can either be a time portal, or it can also be a intergalactic portal. But currently, the use of it is somewhat limited, uh, to the point where only you're only allowed to travel to certain destinations. Other destinations are blocked off or sealed. You can't go to them. And
Do you think
they
that
do have that.
do you think that us here on Earth, do you think we're being confined to the planet right now to some degree?
Well, in a sense, yes. Mainly because the Earth, Mother Earth, Terra, is getting has started her ascension to the fifth dimensional phase, or uh, existence, if you will. And basically, the Federation of Planets want to keep people on the surface, um, pretty much in the dark. Well, not totally in the dark, but only to the degree that they don't go gallivanting up through the universe before they're ready. Um, and the uh, the Federation of Planets also know that the ascension of Mother Earth has started already, and until that's complete, they don't want us going. They don't want us venturing out too far, because the entire planet is going through a change to the fifth dimension. You are currently in the fourth.
So, Billy, have you had any experience with other entrances to the Hollow Earth? Like the Hopi Indians have legends about the Hollow Earth, and they talk about a hole called Sipapu, which is the entrance to the Hopi underground, and it's a sacred place of pilgrimage for the Hopi at the bottom of the canyon of the Little Colorado, above its junction with the Colorado River. So apparently there are openings. I don't know if they're dimensional openings or actual physical openings, because when I was doing my interview with some people from Mount Shasta, it's actually more of a dimensional opening in the back of Mount Shasta, where the people that live down in there, the Agarthians, where they come out interdimensionally, and then they slow their vibration down to where they can materialize on a three-dimensional level. Have you ever experienced or been to any of these kind of openings?
You're speaking of Mount Shasta?
Anywhere.
Well, yes, I have. On Mount Shasta, and let's see, you go to Lower Panther Meadow campground, and you set up your camping gear. If you go up the mountain, going toward the Upper Panther Meadow, in between Lower Panther Meadow and Upper Panther Meadow, there is an opening. It is holographic in nature. The covering is, because it looks like a big rock face, actually, and if your heart and mind are in the right place at the time you're there, a guide will appear, and he will ask you if you wish to go in. And if that happens, then you can guarantee that you're ready to go in. Otherwise, if you're not, if your vibration level is not right, meaning that you're more materialistic thinking, or more concerned about your own welfare, not welfare,
survival,
your own livelihood or whatever, and you basically put you think you're above everyone else, or I'm not quite sure how to put this. You have to be right, otherwise they won't let you in, because they live in total harmony, total peace and joy. They have no thoughts of malice, no thoughts of exploitation. They love you dearly, and they're quite concerned for your welfare. And they are the Lemurians. They're not the Agarthians. They are the Lemurians. They're part of the Agarthian network of cities that are in the Earth's crust, but their origin is Lemurian.
So these are the 25,000 Lemurians, or so that escaped Lemuria before it went down?
Yeah, well, see, Lemuria, the continent of Lemuria, there are remains, islands on the surface that was part of the Lemurian continent. The center of the Lemurian continent would have been Hawaii, and also the people of Lemuria did not live on the surface of Lemuria; they lived underground cities on the continent. Um, the reason that they didn't live on the surface was because at that time, that's when the dinosaurs were walking the face of the earth, and so they didn't want to intermingle with them, so they lived underground in their underground cities. So people are under the impression that Lemuria was a thriving metropolis on the surface, and it wasn't. It was all the people lived underground, and they had artificial sunlight, things of this nature. But the reminiscences of Lemuria that are still above water would be Hawaii, Easter Island, New Zealand, Australia, the Philippines, Japan, the Aleutian Islands of Alaska, British Columbia, down to the state of Oregon, Washington, Oregon, into Northern California, down through Baja California, and then back over to Easter Island. That was the entire continent of Lemuria, which took up almost the entire Pacific Ocean. So that was Lemuria, or Mu, if you want to call it that. But the origin of the Lemurians is from a planet called Lemur. Lemur is what the scientists of today are calling Nibiru, or Planet X. But that's Lemur. It's 5 times the mass of Earth, and it's on an elliptical orbit, and it's on its way back in. Yeah, so, next question.
Yeah, well, I did a lot of research with the Anunnakis and the Epic of Gilgamesh and the story of creation, the Sumerian tablets. And there does seem to be a planet that's within our solar system, because they can see that there's a slight tug on the outer planets, and it's getting stronger. And actually in 1987, NASA put out a press release saying this, but it was quietly and quickly hushed up, and they've never spoken of it since. So I think there's a lot of things happening that people really need to wake up to, because I think as 2012 approaches, we're going to see a lot of different radiations entering into our atmosphere that's going to trigger a lot of our genetic codes, and probably turn some of our genetics on to where we're not using so much of our genetics right now. A lot of this is going to be turned on, which will change our consciousness and our awareness. But I think stories like what you're coming out with is important, because it makes people's minds stretch a little bit, even if they don't totally believe it, to open up to the possibility. Because as things start changing, if it's too dramatic of a change, a lot of people are going to shut down, and it's going to be really tough. But for the people that are opening up to the possibilities of this, it's going to be an incredible adventure. And it's probably why a lot of us are even here.
Well, you're right. You asked me about entrances that are going to the hollow earth. Let me give you a few of them. One of them, of course, is Mount Shasta, but there are others. Pardon me. There are others that are also just as accessible. There is also in the Grand Canyon, There's a gentleman, I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. His name was Hank Craftsman, and he was a gentleman that lived in, he was in construction and engineering, and he found a guide which was named Carl Kopavi Waltz. And he was a guide assigned to him by way of the Hopi Tribal Council of Nine to take Craftsman, pardon me, to the opening at Sifu and the way they went was to get on the mule trail that goes to the upper trail that goes above the Little Colorado River, and he was blindfolded about halfway through the down the trail, and from that point on he held onto this burro for dear life because he didn't want to fall. And so he went, was blindfolded, and they took him to a certain location, and then they finally stopped. He said it seemed like hours that they were traveling, but so they stopped. They unblindfolded him, and Carl Kapavi Waltz escorted him up to a rock face and told him to put his hand upon it. He did, and his hand passed through the rock. So at that point, they continued walking into the stone, into a dark room. As soon as they entered into the room, it lit up like a daylight, and you could see all the surroundings in it. There was artifacts in there of gold and brass and copper and a few other things, but a whole bunch of quartz crystal. And he was then told to follow Carl down a tunnel, and they went down the tunnel. They came to a conveyance, sort of like a sled that you lay down on, and as you lay down on it, it begins to move. And when he gets up to its top speed, it is moving faster than the speed of light. And it went straight, he said it seemed like only minutes, just very few minutes, and it came to a stop. And he disembarked off the craft and was facing 3 doors with symbols on them, and his guide Carl said, "Choose a door." And he says, "Which door do I choose?" He said, "Well, if you choose the wrong door, then you'll have problems. If you choose the right door, you will go to Palakawape, which is the Palakawape is the Hopi modern thriving city inside Hollow Earth. It's one of the cities in the Hollow Earth. So he picked the center door. You have chosen wisely. And he said, "Go enter." And they walked through it, and the center door took them. As they came out into sunshine, he looked up, and there was a sun that never moved, stayed in position. It was dull in color, not bright like the outer sun, but it was seemed to be cross between changing. You would change colors from blue to a soft orange, and then back to a blue again. But it never moved, never wavered. He said that he met a woman there, fell in love with her, and wanted to marry her, but he said he had to return to the surface to tie up loose ends so he could return. And she agreed. He left with his guide, got back on the conveyance, went back through the door, got back on the conveyance, found themselves in the cavern once again in the Grand Canyon. He said goodbye to Carl Kapabi Waltz. He returned to Los Angeles to tie up his loose ends. Upon returning, Kapabi says, go to the beginning of the trail, the mule trail, call my name and I will appear and take you in. But when he did return, he called Carl's name, but Carl did not appear. So he tried to find the entrance himself in vain. He couldn't find it. So he reluctantly went back to Los Angeles, opened up his business of construction. He was a multi-millionaire. He was the owner of Craftsman Construction, contracting. You can verify that if you like. It's Craftsman Construction in the city of Los Angeles, and they will verify that Hank Craftsman was the owner and CEO of that company. He has long since passed away. He wrote a book called Kapabi, and in that book he gave his description of the path they took going to the opening. When they took him to the opening, he was blindfolded. Upon returning, because he was going to return and remain there, they didn't blindfold him from the time he exited the opening and got back on the mule and went back to the mule trail starting point, and so he was able to see everything. He wasn't blindfolded because his mission was to return and
So, Billy,
go back in.
could you spell Kapavi?
Yes, I can. In fact, if you well, of course, you're in front of your computer. If you want to, just go ahead and go to type in this to your search bar. Journey, and the T-O, and then Palakawapé, Patkkwapy. You will read his story for yourself.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that later.
Okay.
So, have you had any experience in Hollow Earth yourself?
Of course.
Okay, what is that like? Just to give you an example, one of the reasons why I didn't believe this is because I couldn't grasp the physics of it. But as I started studying it, it started making more sense that it's the crust of the Earth that creates gravity. So the people on the outside of the planet experience the gravity down to the center of the crust, and the people on the inside of the planet experience the gravity from the inside of the crust to the center. So then I realized that they're standing upright all the way around the center of the Earth, the way we're standing upright all the way around the surface of the planet. So it started making more sense. So what was it like for you to be there? And why did you come back?
Well, like I said, I came back because I had to, but believe me, I didn't want to. I wanted to stay there. But also, you have to understand that the Hollow Earth is fifth dimensional. You can go there physically, but your body will be changed when you enter. It changes from, in Admiral Byrd's case, it changed from the third to the fifth dimension as his aircraft entered into the North Polar opening. When you go into the North Polar opening, halfway around the North Polar opening, everything changes. Your density lightens. Your body begins to feel tingly, and like a tingling sensation. And then as you continue going around into the hollow earth, your body changes. You will discover that when you do this, that your body begins to feel, how do you put it, exhilarated, energized. Wow. It's hard to explain, but when you go inside, your body changes from the third dimension into a fifth dimensional body, which is much lighter than what you have on the surface. When they brought me and my sister to the surface, our body had to basically phase down to the third dimension in order to remain up here. And it's the same if you went inside. You couldn't remain in the fifth dimensional existence unless your body was permanently changed. Understand?
Right. Hey, explain something. I'm sure this is a question that viewers that are watching right now, they would want me to ask. But what is the apparatus that you put on your head, and what's that for?
Oh, okay. This is a crystal headband, and the crystal headband is to help you focus your energy. It's very when you put it on, if you have headaches and stuff like this, they're gone. If you have, it opens up your third eye, if you will. As you can see, it's centered right over my third eye. It opens up your third eye. It causes your subconscious and conscious minds to think alike or think as one. And when you go into meditation real quick, and you can go in. You can intergalactically, as well as long distance. Well, intergalactic is pretty long distance, but if other people have them on and wearing them, and are used to wearing them, they can't communicate with each other telepathically.
Right.
Because you were born with the ability to communicate telepathically at birth. Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but it makes sense. I mean, I spent most of my early childhood of people telling me, no, you can't do that, no, don't do that, sit down, go here. I was indoctrinated so heavily living in West by God, Virginia, that actually I was kicked out of Sunday school when I was 6 because I asked too many questions. And the question that came up is, when I first went to Sunday school, they started teaching us Genesis. And the Sunday school teacher was saying that God was well pleased, his creation was perfect. And I'm thinking, well, okay, yeah, there's a God. I readily accepted the fact that there was some kind of God, and it's good that he's really pleased with me. But the next Sunday when I went back, he tried to drown us all. And I'm thinking as a young kid, whoa, wait a minute here. This doesn't sound quite too good, you know? And so I was kicked out of Sunday school for asking too many questions. But now I'm older now, and I'm still asking questions.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, when I was I was in school, I got in trouble a lot because I would always ask questions. And we were in science class one day, and the science teacher was talking about the makeup of the Earth, the crust, and all this. And then he says, are there any questions? He should not have asked that question because I raised my hand, and he should never have allowed me to take the floor because I blew his mind away. I got up and I said, "Why are you lying to us?" And he looked at me and he goes, "What?" I says, "Why are you lying to us?" "Lying to you? What are you talking about?" I said, "You know as well as I do that the earth is not solid, that it is hollow, and it has a central sun that shines out through the polar openings off of ice crystals called crystalline, which creates the halo of light that you term the northern lights.
So
Go to the principal's office."
how old were you then? How old were you?
I, I was like, well, let's see, maybe 9 or 10, maybe.
So tell me, Billy, tell me about your physical birth. How did that transpire?
In the hollow earth, your physical birth is you created out of thought. Thought is the creator. Thought always is. Um, and as you think, you are. My guardians or my parental figures, they came together and they wanted to create a life form, another, a child. So they basically sat down, agreed upon it, and it was done. I was conceived, and upon my birth, uh, 3 months compared to 9 months on the surface. So they developed quite rapidly, uh, which is what they were, what they used to. Pregnancy on the surface used to be 3 months as well, but way back in the ancient times. But all that changed after the submission of religion. But anyway, it's 3 months in the interior, and when I was born basically as a toddler, not as a baby.
Right. So how did you end up getting up here to the surface?
Well, that was quite interesting. I was out frolicking in the forest, and enjoying myself, and my guardian, my mother, parent figure, called me in and said, "You need to go to the learning center." So I went to the learning center, and they told me, they said, we would like you and your sister to go on a mission. And we asked what the mission was. The mission was to go to the surface. I'd always thought about the surface, but I had not really hadn't been there, of course. But I said, "Well, what are we going to be doing?" He says, "You're going to be raised as a surface family, surface world family. That you'll be adopted, and you will grow up, and at the right time, you will start your mission." I said, "Okay, what's the mission?" They said, "We had an entity here from the surface. He was a noble character by the name of Admiral Byrd. He was a military officer, and he visited here, and we gave him a message to relay to his surface world. He was silenced. He was shut down. They would not allow him to give forth a message out of fear, and when they realized that there was a hollow earth and that we existed, they were shut down, put it under a tight secrecy act. So your mission will be to relay that message." And so I said, "Okay, I'm game. Why not? Let's do it." So my sister and I agreed, and we were taken to the surface by aeroship. They are circular in pattern, about 150 feet in diameter, 45 feet high, and they are similar to the ones that Bob Lazar described. And they brought us to the surface. We were deposited and left in on top of a with the lid off of a litter barrel, wrapped in a baby blanket or toddler blanket, and deposited in this receptacle. Me and my sister together. So we were brought down from the fifth dimensional existence to the third dimensional existence, which felt quite strange to us, but we were still there. The craft left the ground and hovered in a cloud above the park until we were discovered. We were discovered by a maintenance worker and policewoman who came over, saw us lying on top of the garbage, picked us up, and took us to immediately turned us over to Child Protective Services of Wichita Falls, Texas. That was the city we came out on. We were taken to the Child Protective Services. From that point, the next morning, we were taken to a county orphanage, also in Wichita County, of Wichita Falls, Texas, where we remained until we were adopted. When we got there, we were quarantined right away. Pardon me, my immune system's starting to fail here. That's another reason I have to go home. So we were in quarantine, and we were listening to a radio, and we were watching a little round tubed square box that looked like it had a glass, round glass thing on it. I guess that was a TV set because we saw images in it, Jack Benny and a few other people. We learned the language from that point. At the time we came to the surface, we did not speak verbally. We communicated telepathically to each other, and we also didn't quite understand their language, so we had to learn it. So we learned it in quarantine. After quarantine, they put us in general population, where the kids were, and we remained silent for a long time. They gave us a pad and pencil to write our wants and desires. They figured that we didn't talk and couldn't, we were mute, couldn't talk because we weren't talking. But to each other, we were communicating from mind to mind. We were twins, so we could do it quite easily. Twins on the surface could do the same thing. They could communicate from mind to mind, and they do it quite often. If you talk to twins, they'll affirm the fact that they can communicate with each other through the minds.
So where's your sister right now?
She's back in the Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
She was taken at age 9 years old back to the Hollow Earth because her life was in danger from your government.
So what is your mission then? As this unfolds, what is it turned out that your mission is?
My mission is to give the contents of the, not just the contents of the message, but also to let people know of the existence of Hollow Earth, that it is real, that it is a physical place that you can go to, and that it is a beautiful place to be. If you were to go there, how do you pronounce your name?
Rahasia.
Rahasia. If you were to go there, you would not want to come back.
Okay, Billy, can you go there?
Well, I am going there, but I'm going by means of surface transportation.
And is this where the tunnel system, does it hook up to this, or is that on a different dimension? The tunnel system.
The tunnel systems. The tunnel systems underneath Area 51 they do travel throughout the crust of the Earth, and they do travel. Like I said, the first 16 levels of Area 51 are man constructed. The ones below that are tunnels that were already there. Area 51 personnel are utilizing those tunnels, but only to a certain point. They're not allowed to go below a certain level uh, as far as the tunnels go. Um, as far as the tunnels that go from stretch across the United States to the different bases, they utilize those. But the ones that are below that are off limits.
So where do you live right now, Billy?
I live in Pahrump, Nevada.
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to live in Las Vegas. So you live out there with Art Bell?
Well, he doesn't live in Pahrump anymore.
Oh, he moved.
He,
Huh?
he relocated after his wife died. He relocated to the Philippines. He's in Manila,
Uh-huh.
and so that's where he's at right now. And he married another. He married the sister of his wife.
Yeah, I almost bought a chicken ranch in Pahrump one time and moved out
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah, yeah, a long time
You
ago. Last time I was out
you
there was at a little restaurant. This was back in the mid '70s, but I used to live in Las
Yeah.
Vegas, and I was
Okay.
going to move to Pahrump and just become a farmer, but it just never quite worked out. But yeah, it's a nice area out there.
Yes, it is. Let me take this camera down. I'm tired of looking down. Let me look up here. See if I can bring
Sure.
my face for you to see better here. Okay, where you at? Doggone it. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, just move a little bit to your left. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right in there now.
Okay. Well, let me see. Maybe I can
So
get a
what
better.
are you?
Try to get a better.
You said
thing
something on our phone call about you're going to have a website up.
Yeah, it's going to be hollowearthnetwork.com. They're trying to get it up and running right now, but it hasn't been up. It's not up and running yet.
Well, as soon as you do, what I'll do is I'll put this up on YouTube and I'll go ahead and put that website up so people can find out more information about what you're talking about.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you've got my curiosity to the point where I think I'm going to drive up to Mount Shasta and go up to Panther Flats and try my luck. I've always wanted to go up there and spend the night, because I've talked to, I think I've talked to about 5 people that said that they have actually seen and communicated with people that came out of the mountain and conversed with them. And every single one of them were level-headed, normal people. You would not think they would ever make up a story. But it's been enough to tell me that there's something to it. And I've talked to numerous people that have seen flying saucers. And go ahead.
Oh yeah, you're correct in your assumption. If you were to have one of these headbands on when you go up there, you would find that you would be able to see aeroships going in and out of Mount Shasta.
Well, maybe I'll go by the Crystal Room up there. They have an amazing store up there called the Crystal Room. And
Yes.
I noticed on your headband there's some metallic substances. Is that copper or
That's silver.
silver? Is that an
Take it off.
important, is that
Take
an
it off.
important part
You better.
of the headband?
Okay, can you see that?
Yep. You need to sell these on your
Okay.
website.
I do sell them.
Yeah?
They normally sell for $200, but I upped the price to $95 up until the 5th of next month. And I'm getting a lot of orders, and I am making them.
So
And I'll show you that I'm making them here.
How would people go about
Here's-
ordering that?
I've got about 15 orders.
So how
See?
would they order it?
They order it right now. They can make payment to me to PayPal, and my PayPal account is taylosgirl at yahoo.com. That's TELOSGIRL at yahoo.com. Or they can send a money order, a U.S. postal money order, to my address in Pahrump, and because they have to send the crystal and the silver. See, they have to choose their own crystal. I don't choose the crystal for them. Their quartz crystal must resonate with their own vibration and frequency. Otherwise, the headbands are useless.
So how do they choose their own crystal?
Well, you can do it one of two ways. You can pick one up and see how it feels to you, or you can also use a pendulum to choose your crystal.
All right, Billy. Well, I think we'll probably be in touch again with you, and I'll let you know how my trip to Mount Shasta turns out.
Okay. Do you want to? Are you on limited time or what?
No.
Huh?
No. You have something else you want to talk about?
I thought you might want to talk to my father.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll just go silent here, and I'll allow him to talk. Now you're going to find that my mannerisms have changed just a little bit, and I may do a lot of smiling, but that's only my father. Also, I don't have any teeth presently because when I was younger, my teeth kept breaking due to the foods that I was forced to eat on the surface, and it decayed my teeth to the point where I just had to have them removed completely. That's how bad the food up here is. So when if I look, if you don't see no teeth, that's why I don't have any. but I mean, I do have dentures, but I don't like wearing them. It feels like I have plastic in my mouth, so I don't like those either. I was thinking about getting some teeth implants, but that's pretty expensive right now, and costly, and basically not necessary, because when I return home to the house, all that back anyway, so there's really no sense in going through all that expense. But I'm going to go ahead and have him come in to chat. And of course, if you have questions for him, feel free to ask him. He will give you all the answers you wanted, and you want to know about Hollow Earth, or about Bermuda Triangle, or whatever. He's now understand he's 150,000 years old.
Okay.
And Ramtha is only 35,000 years old. So he's been around, been around the block a few times. But so I will allow him to come in, and you can talk to him.
I'm looking forward to it.
Beloved Master, how are you?
How are you doing?
Wonderful.
So tell me about yourself.
You have been talking to what is termed my offspring.
Yes.
Indeed.
So tell me about yourself. What should I call you?
Zora?
Zora?
Indeed.
Hello, Zora. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, and what it
do you
is
wish
that
to
you
know?
think would be important for this conversation.
Well, you have what is called the hollow earth. Many questions have been asked about this region. I am here to tell you of that region. It is a wondrous place, full of brilliant colors and wonderful healing atmosphere. You have what is called temperature of what is called 76 degrees, which is subtropical in nature. You have what is called the of what is termed as the life-giving force. The atmosphere in the hollow earth is pure in comparison to what it is here. You have what is called the no pollution of any sort. You have what is called the creatures in the hollow earth. Many of them were on your surface and that are not here any longer. You have what is called the mastodons, the pterodactyls, flying reptiles. You have what is called saber-toothed tigers, more like a kitten. You have what is the insect world that are quite large. You have flies that have what we call 6 feet wingspans, dragonflies that are quite large. Of course, you have seen those in your fossils. The inner sanctum of hollow earth is quite, if you will, health-giving. You on the surface, for some particular reason, you find it necessary to eat dead foods. Why is this?
Yeah, it makes me wonder too. So,
dead foods.
Zora.
Dead foods. Yes.
Tell me about your birth.
Ooh. My birth.
Yeah, who were your parents, and what was your birth like, and where was it?
My birth was on a planet called Lemur. That's L-E-U-R. L-E-M-U-R. No. Similar. L-E-M-U-R.
How did you end up here?
On what is called one of the passings of Lemur, we became very close to your planet Terra, and when it came so near, we simply teleported to the surface.
Do you ever miss home? Do you ever miss your home on Lemur?
No. It's a wondrous place, similar to Hollow Earth, but not quite. The planet is 5 times the mass of Earth, which means that it would take 5 of your Earths to make Lemur. On Lemur, you have several different races of people. Lemur is not just Lemurians. It's also, we have reptilians there. We have the what you call the insectoids. We have what is called the Nordics. We have what is called the Zeta Reticulans. Races from all planets.
So Zora, is Lemur
indeed
the planet that we're referring to as Nibiru?
It is indeed.
Okay, it's on a 3,600-year orbit.
Yes.
When is it due again?
You will start seeing what is called the appearance of it toward the latter part of 2012. and you will be able to see as your sun rises, as Helios rises. That's the name of your sun, Helios. As it rises, it would, if you look either to the it would be to the left. As you look to the left of the sun as it rises, you should see a white dot as it is reckoned through your telescopes.
Well, there's some people that say that they've actually started to see this already.
Indeed. That is the myrrh.
So if I ever make it to Inner Earth, could I ask for Zora? And we'd be able to find you?
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm going to try to get there.
Well, you can.
I think I'm going to have to clean up my frequency, clean up my emotions, and I have a lot of inner work to do. But I'm starting to see the reality that this could be
And
true.
what is your diet?
Well, I do eat a little bit of fish, a little bit of chicken. Other than that, it's all vegetables.
All right. You might try. Now, understand, there's only one meat that could be considered a transition diet to what is called vegetarian, and that would be what is called your ostrich. Ostrich meat.
Right?
It is they are grown on farms organically. They eat organic food. There is no chemicals added to their food. So they are more a pure meat.
Right.
Understand?
Yep. Yeah, I can feel when I eat
Very,
beef.
very high in protein.
Yeah.
And when you eat chicken, you are eating the thoughts and what is called the vibration and what is called the attitudes of wherever these chickens came from. You understand?
And how they died.
And how they died. And you are taking this into yourself. So you do this, you have what is called poisons that are going into your system. You want to eat foods that are alive and living. Understand?
Right.
I do not condone eating meat, but for a transition from the surface to a better way of eating, the ostrich is a creature that has agreed and to be used. You understand?
Right.
In their knowledge, in their way of thinking, they are sentient beings just as you are. Many people think, oh, my pet has no soul. Understand, it does. All living creatures have a soul. All living creatures. Even your trees have a soul. Did you
Right.
know that?
Yeah, I sense that.
Yes?
I sense that.
Go out and hug a tree. Sit under it. Commune with it. And you will find that you are suddenly energized. You will suddenly feel wonderful inside because you're reconnecting to your roots. You're reconnecting to Mother Nature. And by doing so, you allow your being to start reconnecting with its origin.
Zora, have you ever
Yes.
have you ever come to the surface in physical form?
No, I have not. I have come in what is called in my essence. I have come through a channeling, and I came in a translucent form when I first started to channel through my son, or my daughter. It's both, actually. Billy is what is called a transgender birth, part female and part male, but both. You understand?
I think so.
Your Earth term would be hermaphrodite.
Right.
You know what that is?
Yep.
Indeed. However, now, if you were to stop eating dead foods, that's anything you have to kill is dead foods. And that's bad enough, but you're also eating it out of your locality. And that is worse. Because, as I said, you are taking on the attitudes and consciousness and frequency of people where this food was grown.
Yeah, this is my second year now that I've had a garden, so we're eating more and more out of a garden that actually grows on my land.
Absolutely, that is wonderful. Steer away from going to what is called your grocery facilities. If you want to go to a facility to buy vegetables and things of this nature, go to what is termed as a farmer's market.
Right. Local produce.
Local produce. Local oranges and apples and pears. All of local in your local area or region. If you live in what is called California, eat only foods grown in California. If you are in New York, stay with New York foods.
Right.
And you'll find that your body will begin to reverse its aging process and also begin to reverse all the poisons that are in your cells. Once this takes place, your body will begin to advance quite rapidly to the fifth dimensional existence.
Yeah, I've already started eating foods, not only locally, but only foods that are in season. So I'm not eating foods that are out of season and shipped in from 2,000 miles away.
Indeed. See, this is the plan of your governments. They said, okay, let us start importing foods from other countries and other localities and feed it to the population. It will nullify their gifts and abilities. It will take away their desire to not be controlled. They will have control over you. You are allowing yourselves to control. And by doing so, you're giving up your innate gifts.
So, Zora, do you know anything about what we call genetically modified foods?
Genetically modified foods is a poison to your system.
Because it doesn't match with our genetics, or?
It doesn't match with your frequency. It doesn't match with your essence. As I said, still, your organically genetic foods that are by your governments have all these additives and chemicals and all this mixed with it. They'll tell you, oh, it's organically grown, it's all natural. Don't believe it. If it doesn't come out of your own garden, leave it alone.
Yeah, sounds like good advice, Zora.
Indeed.
So, I'm going to continue my path here on the surface, trying to educate people and clean up my own frequencies, because the surface is in dire straits right now. We're having lots of problems here. So what do you have to say as far as what it is that we need to do here?
All right. Are you familiar? Or do you know you have the power to heal? Yes.
Well, that's what I hear, but I'm not too sure I totally accept that.
Let me demonstrate something for you. Hands are free. Yes.
Yep.
Your hands are free. Good. Rub your hands together, like so. Make your hands about 18 inches apart and start bringing them together very slowly, directly opposite each other. Not like that, like this. Like this. Like this, together. As you come together, feel like you're pushing against something. You feel it.
Yeah.
You feel the heat.
I can feel some heat here.
Yes. That's healing power. You possess it. Everyone walking the face of your planet has it. It was born in you. When you do what is called the technique, and you put your hand on either side of the afflicted area of a body, you create a positive healing field. You understand?
Right.
And by doing this, you are transmitting your healing power to that of another.
Yeah, there's
and they are healed instantly.
There's so many things we do on this planet that we don't even think about. Like if
right,
we hurt ourselves, we go, ow, and we put our hand on the hurt, without even thinking. But we intuitively probably know that there's healing energy being put into that afflicted surface.
Indeed, there is. You have, if you were to take there are many ways that you can heal others. You can do it by touch. Your Jesus, who was the wonderful teacher and also the son of the Creator, as you are the son of the Creator, as your mother is as the daughter of Creator, everyone and God are one. You do not need religion to have a relationship with your Creator.
Right.
You know that, yes?
Yes.
You are the Creator. Understand, in your Bible it said, let us make man in our image. What did that mean? It did not mean let us make man in appearance. It said, let us make man with our abilities and gifts, and let them be fruitful upon the face of terra. That was the way your Bible was originally meant to be written, but it was not.
Yeah,
because of fear.
Things have changed quite a bit.
Indeed. In your Bible, your King James one, it says, marvel not what I do, for greater shall you do, if you only believe. To be, if you can. You only believe you can do it.
Yeah.
That's what was originally meant in your scripture. But your King James cabinet that rewrote the Bible and translated it into English, they left out the most important part that gave back the power to the people and took the power away from you and put it in the hands of your overseers. You understand?
Yep.
And so when it says, marvel not what I do, for greater shall you do if you only believe you can, when you read the Bible in that form, you'll find that the scripture will leap out at you and it will embrace you and you will embrace it. And this power, you're going to feel it coming within you when you read it that way, because that is the way it was meant to be.
All right, Zora, that sounds like good advice. I know what you mean about the Bible. There's a lot of pearls in the Bible, but they've been
Indeed.
smothered by so much nonsense and what we
The
call
purpose-
bullshit.
The purpose for that, here is the simple truth. In Genesis, in the beginning, it was talking about a certain couple, Eve and Adam, right?
Right.
Eve and Adam. Well, first off, they have it backwards. The one that was created first was the female, and then the male was made after that, as an afterthought. However, a little humor there. Anyway, but you have Adam and Eve, and then you have Cain and Abel. Yes.
Yes.
And then Cain slew Abel. Yes.
Yes.
Right. Then Cain was cast out from the garden, from the location, and he went to dwell in the land of Nod. Yes?
Right.
And he took him a wife. Where did the wife come from?
Well, I've always wondered about that too.
See, your Bible is full of what is called controversy. And it is meant specifically to confuse you. Okay? And to keep you under subjection to those over you, in authority. So they wrote it down this way so they could keep control of you.
Yeah,
You understand?
Yep. I've always wondered about the part in the Bible where it says, "The sons of gods saw the daughters of men to be fair and took them to be wives." And even as a young kid, I realized that there has to be two separate beings here, two separate races. And
Yes.
that makes you really question the validity of just Adam and Eve having two sons, and where did their daughters come from? I mean, where did their wives come from?
Right. If you're going by the premise that Adam and Eve was the master race, then you're talking about something that is totally against your law right now, called incest.
Exactly.
Yes. So if you agree or are following what is termed in your Bible literally, then you are saying that your ancestors were all outborn and begot out of incest.
Exactly.
And that is unthinkable.
Well, hopefully a lot of people are waking up to this now. So I think this planet's getting ready to go through a transition and an awakening where a lot of this will
It's
just
already
fade away.
begun. It has already begun. Terra began its transition from the third dimension to the fourth dimension in your year of 2006, January, I believe. January 2006. At that time, you may have heard about people being nauseous, disoriented, dizzy, headaches, whatever, and they went to the doctor, had no answers for them, told them to go home and get rest. This went on for a period of 3 to 4 months, and then it started subsiding, slowing down. What that was the initial transition from the third dimension to the fourth. And you are now in the fourth dimension. You're no longer in the third. That passed away.
Well, that makes sense because I'm starting to sense time differently. Time isn't this linear thing anymore.
Time is an illusion on the surface. When you accept time, you are also accepting age. Do you understand?
I believe so.
When you accept time and you start rating time and age and years, you lose your immortality by accepting that you are getting older in age, then you start to age. You have a portion in your body called human growth hormone. Know what that is?
Yes.
What HGH is prominent and produced within the human body from the ages of newborn up to 20s and 30s. After that, it starts to diminish in its capacity of creating or in the body. And as you get older, it stops completely, stops producing. Your mind says, no more, I'm not going to do it anymore. And at that point is when you start to age. Wrinkles and failing of your organs, things of this nature, are breaking down. That is because you have accepted age.
I see.
You understand?
Yep.
Now, if you reverse that thought or that understanding, then you are reversing age. The minute you start saying the proper rate for way you are getting mature, that would be by saying, your age now is what?
63.
All right, you are 63 trips around the sun.
Right.
Instead of saying you are 63 years old, you just simply state, when people ask you, how old are you? I am 63 trips around the Helios.
Right.
Or sun. That way, you're not accepting age. You are actually reversing age.
I think
Makes sense?
I think I understand what you're saying. Because we're talking not about time, we're talking about movement.
Indeed. Another misconception of people is they are under the impression that the sun is a radioactive ball of fire. Yes?
Yes.
That's what you were taught. Your sun is not hot. Your sun is cold fusion light. Understand?
I think I know what you're saying.
Okay. When you have what is called your pictures from the sun in your what you call Google or your information that you pull off the internet, it shows your photographs or videos of the sun with solar flares shooting out from it and things of this nature. Yes?
Yes.
But that is a lie. That is what they want you to believe. However, if you are in space and you photograph the sun, it is a ball of light. No solar flares, no solar radiation. It is light, pure and simple. It's in matter, in thought.
Right.
Now, the sun is not a star. It is a planet. And a planet is inhabited on the inside. It is hollow, just as your Earth is hollow. Mars is hollow. Venus is hollow. Neptune is hollow. Pluto is hollow. Mercury is hollow. All of the planets are hollow. And they have a population living inside of them. All of them.
Well, it seems like this information it's time for it to come out.
You have learned?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to looking into this deeper. So maybe the next time you and I see each other, we'll be in a different dimension.
You're in a different dimension now.
Well, I guess that's true, huh?
Indeed. As your 2012 approaches, even from this day forth, you are going to experience changes. It'll be subtle changes, minor. But if you go out in nature, out into the forest, and you commune with the trees, learn to be quiet with them. Get away from your hobbles. Get away from your wearing restrictive shoes on your feet. Connect back with Mother Nature. You will find that you will gain energy from the earth. As you walk on the earth, the Mother Nature will nurture your feet and will send her loving vibrations up through the soles of your shoes and to your feet. It's better to go barefooted, but however, many people don't want to do this. I do not blame them because of the what is called pollutions on the surface, or your trash strewn everywhere. You have what is called nails and things to puncture your feet. So unfortunately, it is not like that in the Hollow Earth. You will not find not one piece of paper on the ground.
Well,
You understand?
it sounds like a good place to come to someday.
Indeed. You can also come to it in your astral body. You astral project?
I've tried, and I think I've accomplished it a couple of times in my life.
Indeed. Billy has a mantra that is given to peoples to help them turn their headbands to get into their alpha state so they can travel to what would be termed the Hollow Earth or Inner Earth or wherever they wish to go. It is a simple mantra. I can read it for you if you wish to jot it down.
Sure, repeat it for me now.
Indeed. Distance, darkness, fade away.
Yep.
I seek the mystic traveling ray.
Yep.
Reveal before my mind's bright eye.
Yep.
The secrets that I wish to spy.
Gotcha.
Indeed. You say this what's called 7 times. Each time you say it, a repetition of it, you would say Hollow Earth destination, or destination Hollow Earth. Then you will go off into a slumber. When you do, you will travel most rapidly. And you will end up in a place what is called the Pathologos Library. That is located beneath the Aegean Sea in the Hollow Earth.
Okay.
You know of the Aegean Sea?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Below the Aegean Sea is bottomless. In a certain area, it's bottomless. And it will go all the way through the Earth's crust and open up into a lake in the hollow interior. So there are waters coming from the inner Earth, or hollow Earth, all the way through the Earth's crust into the Aegean Sea. If you were to go to that location where the water is coming forth from it, from the opening, you would find pure healing water. But as it intermingles with the surface water, then it is dispensed and loses its power. because the water on the surface is dead or diminished to a great degree. Your oceans are such a wondrous place, and you are polluting them. You are killing the life in them. You need to stop this. Bring awareness to what is called the senseless slaughter of our sisters and brothers of the sea. You have your dolphins, you have your whales, you have your manatee, you have your seals, you have your walrus. All these creatures are mammals, and as you are a mammal, and they are your sisters and brothers. You have a country on your surface called Japan. More precisely, a place called Taiji. You know of it?
Yeah, I seen a documentary on how they lure them all in, and just it's devastating. I think it's called the Bay or something.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Called the Cove.
The Cove.
The Cove, yes. This place, they are creating a genocide way of thinking, and what they're doing, they are killing these defenseless creatures that are harming no one, and they are eating them, consuming them. So we did what is called try and stop it in subtle ways. We thought, well, what we would do, we would introduce what is called a mercury substance in the bodies of the dolphins. Maybe that would deter them from wanting to kill them. That did not work. They continued to kill them. So we gave Japan a wake-up call, a tsunami, an earthquake. Maybe that will wake them up. Not yet. So we're going to try again soon. There will be another quake and another tsunami off the coast of that island that is causing the destruction of our brothers and sisters. This wave will be of immense size that it will take out that island. Their fishing fleet will be destroyed. Their economy will come to naught. They will realize that Mother Nature is giving them a slap on the hand, if you will.
Well, that should catch their attention.
See, yeah, get their attention. Indeed, that's what we want to do, get their attention. But they have also elicited other countries to do the same thing. And this is genocide thinking. You have to understand, the Earth is a living being. She is evolving. And as she evolves, you must evolve with her or be removed. And this is what is going to take place very soon. It will be in your lifetime, I can assure you. We will do what is called reshape the earth. We are going to cleanse the earth of all of man's creations, all of civilization's achievements are going back to the terror from which they came.
Have you done this before?
Indeed.
Have you done
Yes, we
this
have.
before?
Yes, we have. On other worlds. Other worlds that had needed to develop like yours is doing. Other planets were in the same situation. And in one in particular, Venus, was of a culture highly advanced of you. However, they were also doing genocide thought. So we had to evolve the planet to the fifth dimension, which we did. And after we did this, we cleansed cleansed their planet. What we did was removed all the population of their planet, of Venus, off the surface, and redeposited them in the hollow interior of their world. Upon vacating the surface, we reduced what is called their achievements and technology back to its original origin from that world, and then replenished the atmosphere, purified it to a pristine state. Upon doing so, we allowed them to return to the surface. They were then in the fifth dimensional existence and no longer genocide thinkers. They were harmonious, peaceful, and joyous people, just as you will be as well. You need to evolve with Mother Earth. You need to get back to your roots, to Mother Nature. That is where your energy lies. That is where your cures for your disease lies, with Mother Nature. The more you get back to Mother Nature and recognize her and work with her, the more and more healthy you will become.
Well,
you understand?
Yeah, it sounds like really good advice, Dora. Unfortunately, I'm running out of record time here. So I think we're going to have to continue this another time. So maybe if I could talk to Billy one more time and say goodbye.
Indeed.
It's been really great talking with you.
Indeed. I bid you farewell. May harmony, peace and joy be yours always. And heed the words I've told you. And get back to your roots. Get back to Mother Nature. Go barefooted for a while.
Sounds like good advice.
Indeed. I will let my child return, and you can continue there.
Okay.
Wow. That takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, I bet.
So, how do you like my father?
Sounds like an interesting guy. Obviously has a lot of experience.
Did you notice any change in me when he came in?
Oh yeah.